Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about something most people fear, misunderstand, and avoid: silence. It's not the silence of weakness, not the silence of giving up, the silence that comes from confidence, alignment, and trust in God's timing. We live in a world that shouts, pressures, and pushes us to respond fast, prove ourselves instantly, and fight battles we were never meant to fight. But hear me, when you stay silent at the right time, everything you're chasing begins to find its way to you naturally. Because silence is not empty. It is full of answers, wisdom, direction, and divine guidance. Sometimes God works the greatest miracles not in the noise, but in the stillness. Sometimes your future is being built in the background while you say nothing. And sometimes your silence is not a pause, it is preparation. Today, I'm here to wake up that strength inside you. The strength that knows when to speak and when to stay silent so everything can fall into place exactly as it's meant to. Silence is a sign of strength, not weakness. And when you truly understand this, your entire life begins to shift. In a world where everyone feels pressure to respond instantly, to defend themselves, to justify their choices, to prove their worth, choosing silence is an act of power. It is a declaration that you are no longer controlled by noise, negativity, or the expectations of others. Think about your own life. How many times have you reacted quickly only to regret it later? How many times have you let anger, fear, or pressure push you into saying something that did not reflect your truth? Silence is not running away from the situation, it is rising above it. It is choosing to protect your peace, your energy, and your dignity. Because the moment you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, you begin to reclaim your strength. Imagine you're at work and someone criticizes you unfairly. Your first impulse is to defend yourself, to speak louder, to argue. But then you remember silence is power. You choose to stay calm, to breathe, to hold your position without reacting. And what happens? The person runs out of fuel because you didn't give them the reaction they were hoping for. You walk away with dignity. They walk away looking smaller. This is the power of silence. It allows you to win without fighting. It allows you to stay in control without raising your voice. It allows you to stay aligned with your purpose without losing your peace. Think of a parent dealing with a teenager who tests their patience. The child might shout, slam doors, argue endlessly. But the parent who stays silent, steady, composed is not weak. They are showing emotional maturity. They are teaching through calmness, not chaos. The child may not realize it immediately, but over time, they begin to respect the strength behind that silence. Silence teaches without shouting. It guides without forcing. It influences without intimidating. Silence is not emptiness. It is wisdom choosing when to speak and when not to. Sometimes silence is necessary because God is working behind the scenes. When you stay silent, you create space for divine timing to unfold. You stop interfering with what is meant for you. You stop trying to force outcomes, chase opportunities, or explain your journey to people who were never meant to understand it. Silence becomes a bridge between your patience and your breakthrough. Think of a seed underground. It grows in silence. It does not announce every inch of progress it makes. It doesn't scream, "Look at me, I'm growing." No, it grows quietly, hidden under the soil, until one day it breaks through with strength, beauty, and purpose. Your life is the same. Most of your growth is happening in silence, internally, emotionally, spiritually, long before anyone sees the results. Silence also protects you from unnecessary battles. Not every comment deserves an answer. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every rumor deserves your time. Some people speak only to provoke you. Some situations exist only to distract you. When you choose silence, you choose freedom. You decide that your energy is too valuable to waste on negativity. You rise above pettiness. You refuse to be dragged into drama. Silence becomes your shield, a shield that guards your emotions, your focus, and your peace of mind. Look at your relationships. Silence can save them. When arguments happen, reacting in the heat of the moment often makes things worse. But if you stay silent, breathe, and choose your words later with wisdom, you avoid saying things that damage trust and love. Silence gives space for understanding. Silence cools the fire that anger tries to ignite. Silence allows the heart to settle and the mind to think clearly. Even with yourself, silence is powerful. In the quiet moments of your life, late at night, early in the morning, Or during a pause in your day, you hear your deepest truths. You understand your fears, desires, and goals more clearly. Silence becomes the mirror that reflects who you really are. It becomes the place where your intuition speaks, where God whispers guidance, where your inner strength rises. In silence, you learn what matters and what doesn't. You become grounded, you become centered, you become unshakable. Silence is also a sign of emotional control. When someone tries to trigger you and you don't react, you show mastery over yourself. You show that your mood, your peace, and your direction are not controlled by external forces. You become the driver of your life, not the passenger. You become the storm that stays calm even when everything around you is chaotic. People may misunderstand your silence, but they can never deny its power. Silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. And the most beautiful thing about silence is this: it attracts clarity. When you stop talking, you start listening. When you stop reacting, you start understanding. When you stop arguing, you start observing. Silence reveals people's intentions. It reveals your path. It reveals the truth behind situations. You begin to see what was hidden by noise. You begin to sense what aligns with your destiny and what doesn't. Silence is not weakness. It is controlled strength. It is emotional maturity. It is spiritual alignment. It is wisdom in action. It is confidence in God's timing. It is trust in your destiny. And when you embrace silence as a tool, a shield, and a guide, everything you seek begins to come to you naturally, without force, without noise, without losing your peace. Silence helps you hear God's direction in ways that noise never can. We live in a world that is constantly talking, phones ringing, notifications popping, people arguing, opinions flying everywhere. It's loud outside and sometimes even louder inside your own mind. But silence is where the real voice speaks. Silence is where your deepest wisdom lies. Silence is where God whispers guidance that you can't hear when you are rushing, reacting, or drowning in the noise of life. Think about how many times your instincts told you something, but you couldn't hear it because you were surrounded by people giving advice, judging your choices, or pressuring you to act faster. You knew something felt off, but the world was too loud for you to trust that inner voice. This is why silence is sacred. Silence is the space where your soul and God communicate without interruption. It's not that the guidance wasn't there before, it's that you were too overwhelmed to receive it. Imagine a person standing in the middle of a busy street trying to listen to someone calling their name from far away. The horns, the crowds, the engines, all the noise blocks the voice they need to hear. But if that person steps into a quiet alley, suddenly the voice becomes clear. The same thing happens with your life. God's voice, your intuition, your inner wisdom, they are always calling you. The directions you need are already within you. The answers are in your spirit. You have to step out of the noise long enough to hear them. Think about the moments when you felt lost, career confusion, relationship pain, financial stress. You tried to fix everything immediately. You tried to seek opinions, force solutions, make quick decisions. But nothing became clear until you finally paused, stepped back, and allowed silence to settle. Suddenly things you couldn't understand became clear. Thoughts you couldn't organize became simple. Answers you were chasing started coming to you naturally. That's the power of silence. It unlocks clarity. Daily life gives us examples all the time. A business owner might be overwhelmed by competition, customer pressure, or financial strain. They panic, they make rush decisions, they feel stuck. But once they sit alone for a moment, no calls, no emails, no stress, ideas begin to rise. Creativity that was buried by pressure suddenly flows. The solution they were desperate for appears effortlessly. This isn't magic, it is the effect of silence. The connection between your spirit and the guidance that was waiting to reach you. Or think of a person in a relationship where confusion has taken over. Misunderstandings pile up. Emotions rise and everything feels tangled. But when they take a quiet walk alone or sit in silence early in the morning, they begin to understand what they truly feel. They begin to see what is right, what is wrong, what is needed, what is missing. Silence reveals truth, not because someone told them, because their heart finally had room to speak. Even in parenting, silence guides. A mother stressed by responsibilities might feel lost managing home, work, children, expectations. And in the quiet moments before everyone wakes up, she remembers her strength. She finds direction. She reconnects with her purpose. That silence becomes the anchor that helps her lead her family through challenges with patience and wisdom. Silence is not about doing nothing. It's about listening deeply, listening to your heartbeat, listening to your intuition, listening to the energy around you, listening to the guidance God sends in the form of feelings, ideas, signs, inner nudges. You may not hear a literal voice, but you will feel a knowing. You will sense what to do, where to go, when to move, and when to wait. Silence strengthens your spiritual sensitivity. It sharpens your awareness. It allows you to pick up on things you would miss in a busy lifestyle. Some of the most important decisions of your life require silence before action. Choosing a career path, choosing a partner, choosing a direction for your dreams. None of these should be made in noise, because noise brings confusion, but silence brings clarity. Noise brings panic, but silence brings peace. Noise brings doubt, but silence brings certainty. When you are silent long enough, the truth rises from inside you like a calm but unstoppable wave. You no longer guess. You feel. You no longer fear. You no longer chase. You align. Silence is also where God heals you. When you stop talking and start listening, the wounds you hide begin to close. The fears you carry begin to dissolve. The stress you hold begins to lighten. Silence becomes therapy for your soul. It resets your mind. It restores your emotions. It reconnects you to the purpose you were created for. And the beauty of it is this: when you learn to hear God in silence, you can carry that guidance with you everywhere. Even in crowded spaces, even in stressful moments, even in conflict, you are guided from within. You move differently, you decide differently, you speak differently. You live with a sense of direction that others can't understand. Because while they rely on noise, you rely on the divine voice that speaks in silence. When you embrace silence, you stop moving blindly. You stop acting from pressure. You stop following the world and start following your path. And once you hear God's direction clearly, everything in your life begins to align naturally, beautifully, powerfully, just as it was meant to. Silence protects your energy in a way nothing else can. In a world full of arguments, assumptions, criticisms, and constant noise, silence becomes your invisible shield. It is not an escape, it is a choice. A choice to protect your peace, your power, and your purpose. When you stay silent in certain moments, you are not losing, you are saving yourself. You are protecting the parts of you that matter most: your emotions, your clarity, your dignity, and your inner stability. Think about how often someone tries to pull you into their chaos. A coworker complains and provokes you. A family member takes out their frustration on you. A stranger online throws negativity your way. If you respond to everything thrown at you, you become exhausted, drained, and emotionally scattered. But when you choose silence, you take back control of your energy. Silence keeps you from wasting your spirit on what has no value. It keeps you from engaging in battles that don't lead anywhere. It keeps your inner space clean while the world outside gets dirty. Imagine this. You walk into work one day with a calm mind and a good mood. Suddenly, someone criticizes your idea harshly. Your first reaction might be defense. You want to prove them wrong, argue, explain. But then you pause, you breathe, you choose silence. What happens? Instead of getting trapped in an argument that leaves you mentally tired, you preserve your energy. You walk away lighter. You stay focused on your goals instead of their negativity. And later, the same people who criticized you will see your results speak louder than any words could. That is the power of silence. It saves your energy for what truly deserves it. In daily life, silence protects you from emotional traps. For example, maybe someone in your home is having a bad day. They snap at you, say something harsh, or behave unfairly. If you respond instantly, anger rises, voices escalate, tension grows. But when you stay silent for a moment, not out of fear, but out of wisdom, you create space for emotions to settle. You avoid turning a small moment into a big conflict. You protect your peace and protect the relationship at the same time. Silence allows you to respond later with clarity instead of reacting instantly with emotions. Silence is especially powerful when dealing with people who misunderstand you. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that not everyone deserves an explanation. Some people have already decided what they want to believe. No matter what you say, they twist your words. They judge you based on their own insecurities. They misunderstand you because they want to. In such moments, silence becomes freedom. You stop trying to convince people who are committed to not understanding you. You save your energy from being drained by their opinions. You keep your power within you instead of giving it away through endless explanations. Think about a time when someone tried to provoke you intentionally. Maybe they were jealous. Maybe they felt threatened. Maybe they wanted a reaction from you to make themselves feel superior. But when you stay silent, you remove their power. You refuse to give them the emotional fuel they crave. They expect your anger, your defense, your words, but your silence confuses them. Suddenly, they look for another target because you did not become the entertainment they hoped for. Silence is your armor in moments when others want to pull you into darkness. Energy is one of the most important things you have. Your energy shapes your productivity, your relationships, your mental health, and even your future. When you waste energy arguing, explaining, defending, or fighting every little battle, you end up too tired to protect your dreams. Silence helps you conserve that energy. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you moving in your own direction instead of being dragged into someone else's chaos. Consider the example of a student preparing for exams. They want to focus. They want to improve. They want to succeed. But family drama happens at home. Friends call with problems. Social media becomes noisy. If the student reacts to everything, they lose focus. But if they choose silence, turning off distractions, not engaging in unnecessary conversations, staying centered, they protect their mental space. Their silence becomes a boundary that guards their ambition. Or think of a person healing from heartbreak. The world around them may constantly bring up memories, questions, or advice. People might ask, what happened? Why did it end? Are you okay? But sometimes the best healing happens in silence. In silence, the person protects their emotional energy from being reopened by conversations they are not ready for. They protect their heart until it becomes strong again. Silence becomes emotional self-care. Silence also protects your spiritual energy. In quiet moments, your soul settles. The stress inside you loosens. You reconnect to your inner self. You reconnect to God. You feel what you truly feel, not what the world is pushing on you. Silence becomes a spiritual recharge, a moment of realignment. It cleans your energy the way rain cleans the air, softly, quietly, powerfully. Silence doesn't mean surrender. It means strategy. It means choosing peace over chaos. It means deciding where to place your energy wisely. When you stay silent, you are not being passive. You are being selective. You are protecting your mental space so you can pursue what truly matters. You are letting your actions speak louder than your arguments. You are focusing on your journey instead of reacting to every noise on the roadside. And the beautiful thing is this: when you consistently protect your energy through silence, you become stronger, calmer, wiser, and more grounded. You stop bending for anyone. You stop breaking for anything. You walk through life with an inner stability that cannot be shaken by noise. And when your energy is preserved, everything you touch becomes better. Your work, your relationships, your dreams, your life. Silence is not emptiness. It is protection. It is power. It is maturity. It is strength wrapped in calmness. And when you master this art, you become unstoppable. Your success, your healing, your growth, none of it begins in the spotlight. It starts quietly, silently, and visibly, long before anyone else notices. Silence allows your growth to happen naturally, just like a seed buried beneath the soil. Nobody sees it, nobody praises it, nobody even imagines what is happening underneath. But in that darkness, in that stillness, the seed is building its roots. It is strengthening itself. It is preparing for the moment it will rise. This is exactly how your life works. Your strongest growth happens when the world thinks nothing is happening at all. There are seasons in life when you feel hidden. You feel overlooked. You feel like no one can see your effort, your pain, or your progress. It feels as if you are stuck. But what you don't realize is that this silent season is shaping you. Growth needs quiet. Development needs privacy. Transformation needs space. When you're silent, you are not being still. You are being shaped for something bigger. Think about a person trying to learn a new skill. Maybe they're learning to cook, learning to code, learning to speak in public, or learning a new language. In the beginning, Everything feels messy. They make mistakes. They feel embarrassed. They struggle to understand. If they tried to perform in front of others too quickly, they would only feel judged or discouraged. But when they practice in silence, away from the pressure of the world, they grow steadily. No applause, no validation, no audience, just pure growth. And one day, they surprise everyone with how good they've become. The world sees only the result, but God saw the silent effort long before anyone else did. Daily life is full of these quiet moments of growth. A mother raising her children might think she's doing the same thing over and over, cooking, cleaning, teaching, guiding. But beneath that routine, she is building character in her children, shaping their values, and planting seeds of love and strength. No one applauds her daily sacrifices, but the growth is happening. And one day, when her children become strong, confident, respectful adults, the world will admire them, never knowing that their foundation was built silently day by day by a mother who never stopped giving. Or think about the young man who decides to improve himself physically. He doesn't announce his goals. He doesn't post it online. He doesn't tell his friends. He goes to the gym early in the morning or late at night. He lifts weights in silence. He runs when nobody is watching. For months, people see no change, and he might even feel invisible. But then one day, his body transforms. People suddenly ask, "What's your secret?" They don't understand that the secret was silence. Growth was happening in the background, silently shaping him into someone stronger, healthier, more confident. This is the nature of true growth. It is slow, quiet, and often unnoticed, but that doesn't make it any less powerful. In fact, it makes it more powerful because the growth that happens in silence is the growth that lasts. Imagine a person who decides to heal from heartbreak. They don't announce their pain to the world. They don't shout about their healing process. They sit with themselves. They reflect in silence. They cry silently, pray silently, rebuild their heart silently. They journal, they learn, they grow, and slowly, quietly, they become stronger than before. The world sees only their comeback, not their silent nights. Silence allowed their heart to recover without pressure, without interference, without judgment. Silence also protects your growth from the negativity of others. When you share your plans too early, people may doubt you, criticize you, or discourage you. Their opinions can shake your confidence. But when you grow in silence, no one can interfere. No one can sabotage your spirit. No one can weaken your resolve. Silence becomes a shield that allows your dreams to mature at their own pace. Think about someone working on a business idea. If they rush to tell everyone, they might face negativity. It won't work. You don't have the experience. It's too risky. But if they stay silent, if they build quietly, their idea becomes stronger before it ever faces the world. By the time they reveal it, it is no longer fragile. It is ready. Silence is also a place where you discover who you truly are. Away from the noise of comparison and judgment, you see your real strengths. You hear your authentic thoughts. You feel your truest desires. Silence clears the fog from your mind. It helps you understand what you actually want, not what others expect from you. Growth becomes faster and deeper when it comes from your true self. Even nature teaches this lesson. Trees grow silently. Mountains rise silently. The ocean gathers its strength silently before a wave crashes onto the shore. Everything powerful grows quietly before it becomes visible. So why do we expect our own growth to be loud? True power doesn't need announcement. True progress doesn't need attention. True transformation doesn't seek approval. The most beautiful part of silent growth is that when the moment comes, when you rise, when you shine, when you succeed, no one will understand how you did it. They will see your confidence, but not your struggle. They will see your results, but not your process. They will see your strength, but not your silent battles. And that is what makes your success so meaningful. So embrace your silent season. Don't rush it. Don't fear it. Don't fight it. This is the time when your roots are growing. This is the time when your foundation is being built. This is the time when God is preparing you for what is coming. Growth is happening quietly, naturally, powerfully, exactly as it should. When you stay silent, you begin to see what truly matters. Silence cuts through the noise that distracts you, drains you, and pulls you away from your real purpose. It becomes a filter that separates the meaningful from the meaningless. In silence, your mind becomes clearer, your heart becomes lighter, and your direction becomes sharper. You begin to understand what deserves your attention and what simply doesn't. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of clarity. Think about how